that may the Lord bless you and may the Lord keep you.
Mizpah TV, keeping the fire of the altar burning.
Hello and welcome to the Counselor's Desk here in this program, Sifa na Ibada. I want to believe that you have had a good week, and I want to appreciate that you are with me today so that we can walk this journey in our program where we are looking at the psychological issues that affect us. Our today's program, we are going to look at a new topic, and that is trauma. What is trauma? Trauma is any distressing event that occurs in life and causes disorganization in the way we feel and in the way we think, and eventually it affects our actions. Trauma can be maybe a situation like death or something that has had a very large impact into you that has occurred all of a sudden. Or sometimes trauma can be a series of events that have occurred in life one after the other. Or in some situations it can be things that have happened in life and they have taken a prolonged time, such that the impact they have on you, they leave you in a situation whereby your normal coping mechanisms do not work. You find yourself in a state of confusion, in a state of numbness, whereby your normal way of dealing with situations you find is not working. And therefore, a person who has experienced trauma, they feel hopeless, they feel confused, and some of the words they use is that they do not know what to do. They have tried, and they find themselves in a corner whereby they say, I have nothing else to do. I don't know what to do. So that is trauma. I want to imagine, as we think about it, you realize that many of us have gone through trauma. We shall be looking at different types of trauma sometime ahead, but for today, I want us to address trauma in children, because even as adults, at one point we were children, and according to studies, it is seen that if a person has experienced trauma as a child, it affects their behavior in adulthood. Like I've said earlier, when a person goes through trauma, it affects what we call the inner person or the psyche, your emotions, your way of thinking, that is the mind, and eventually your behavior. So when a person is going through trauma, it is not that they are born that way, but something has happened into their life and it has affected, in simple terms, the inner person. The inner person has been injured. The inner person is undergoing through pain. The inner person is experiencing a numbness of emotions and their thoughts. And therefore, when our emotions are not okay, when our way of thinking is not okay, it means therefore also our behaviors that will result after that will be in question. They will be affected negatively. And therefore, this morning I want to address specifically trauma in children, because I'm sure some of us ask ourselves maybe why our children behave the way they do, or even you as an adult. There are things that you don't understand why you feel and think and behave the way you do. Could it be maybe you experienced trauma as a child? So today I want us to address that and specifically look at some of the things that cause trauma in children. Trauma in children. I'm not going to put them in any order of importance, but I'll address a few of them. One of the things that brings trauma in children is neglect. To be neglected. If you are neglected, it means that that child is not given the amount of care they are supposed to be given. They are not given the attention they are supposed to be given. They are not given the warmth they are supposed to be given. They are not given the love, the amount of love they are supposed to be given. Neglect can also mean absence of the parents. Like today we find ourselves bringing up children in our absence because we are spending most of the hours working. And therefore it means we are not there for that child a lot of the times. We are not there to connect with them emotionally. We are not there to play with them, to mind about what is happening in their life and all that. And I want to point out here and say that these are when a child is born, immediately a child is born, they have very, very basic needs. Very basic needs. And one of the basic needs when a child is born is comfort. They need to feel they are in very, they also need security, and they also need food. Immediately a child is born. And obviously, like you see, when a child is born, they look for the breast to feed. So if a child is not properly fed, is neglected as far as feeding, immediately the child is born, trauma can start at that point. Also, being made comfortable, like we change the diapers, we ensure the child is warm and all that. If that is not provided, it causes trauma. Maybe you can be thinking of the children who are thrown. Some mothers give birth, maybe very young mothers, or in mothers that are in distressing situations, they throw away those children. Or some young mothers, they feel they have gotten maybe pregnant at the wrong time, and they traumatize the unborn by maybe attempting abortion. So those are some things that can cause trauma at the very formative stages of a child. And as a child grows, what they need is to make sure they are comfortable, they are warm, they are well fed, and they bond with the parents. If that is happening, or that child will grow well. If it is absent, it is one of the beginning places where a child can experience trauma. And this can continue on and on if the parents are absent. We have some parents who take their children to boarding schools as early as maybe grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. And the child may be in a very good school, but even if they are getting the food and everything, they do not have the comfort and the bonding with the parent. They do not have somebody to talk to. They do not have somebody to play with the way a child plays with a parent. So I want to imagine that right now you are thinking about the many situations which can cause neglect when a child is very young and as the child continues to grow. Absent parents, separation, divorce, and all that. And sometimes we are too busy. Sometimes we give birth and take the children to our grandparents, and they miss the bond that they are supposed to be having between us and the parent and the child. So those are some of the cases that amount to what we are calling neglect. If you are not giving enough food, the child is not having enough clothing. And maybe I can go to number 2 to connect with that and say poverty is another cause of trauma in children. Poverty is not biblical. Poverty is not of God. So it's important that, we work and ensure that we have the resources that we need to bring up a child. So you realize that people who are brought up in poverty, they are lacking a lot of essential things. Growing up without enough food, growing up without, even proper housing, no proper clothing and all that. So this can be another cause of what we are calling trauma in children. Another cause that is very common today is abuse. Children being exposed to abuse. We have different types of abuse. You can be abused physically, emotionally, and even socially and in other ways. So abuse is not just physical. So when a child is going through abuse, whether it is maybe physical, some of the types of physical abuse is beating children, harassing them, shouting at them, not listening to them, and also sexual abuse. We have a lot of incest today. Children are a threat even from the very people that are supposed to be protecting them. So when children are undergoing through abuse, it causes trauma. And I want to point out here and say that earlier on, when I was trying to help you understand trauma, we said that trauma is a situation whereby you find yourself not having coping mechanisms, or if you had them, you realize that they are no longer working. So for a child, a very young child, even as they continue to grow, the truth and the reality is that they may not have this coping mechanism. A child who is less than a year old, 2 years, 3 years, even 4, 5, they may not have the coping mechanisms that an adult can have. And therefore, if they do not have, it means they'll be subjected to trauma for quite some time. And like I said, this affects their emotions, their way of thinking, their way of looking at things, and the result of that is the way they behave. They develop their own way of fighting things, their own way of coping. And in most cases, it is a negative way of coping. We shall be looking at that maybe at a point. Today I want us just to focus on some of the causes. So abuse. How can a child be emotionally abused? When a child is not given the love they need, maybe because the parents are there, or maybe because the parents themselves are undergoing through their own issues. Maybe the parents themselves have experienced traumas in their lives. and they have not resolved them. And therefore, eventually, when they become parents, they are not able to give love to their own children. Why? Because they themselves, they have issues to deal with, or they are fighting in between themselves, or they have other problems, and therefore, emotionally, the child is not well taken care of. I want to point out something else also that may happen as a form of abuse, but handle it differently. And that is when a child is exposed and the child witnesses violent situations. Many children today are victims of domestic violence of their parents. They witness the violence between their parents. They witness their parents mistreating one another. And as a child grows, they absorb that. The truth is that with the time, they normalize that. But in that normalization, they develop negative behaviors. So, witnessing violent situations, and not just at home, they may also witness violent situations even in the community. Think of communities in Kenya where there is a lot of violence, where there is, children day in, day out. They see people fighting in some places in our country and in other countries. So such children, their way of thinking, their feelings become numb, and eventually in their adult life, even as they grow, they develop what I can call for now negative behaviors. Behaviors that are not okay according to our societal standards, according to our societal expectations. So far we have looked at 4 of them, and I want at this point to take a break. And when we come back, I'll give you some more causes of trauma in children, and we shall wind up with some Bible verses to encourage all of us. See you when we come back.
Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Psalm 100 verse 4. Sunday is a great day to give thanks and praises to our God. That is why Mizpah House of Prayer invites you for a Sunday worship service every Sunday from 9 a.m. A time of worship, prayer, and the prophetic word. Come for hope, fellowship, spiritual growth, and encouragement. We would love to have you. Join us in person or catch us live on Mizpah TV and our social media platform. Tukutane Church.
Are you aware of the common mistakes that could be sabotaging your financial growth? Well, it's high time you get equipped with practical knowledge and expertise that will help you make wise financial decisions and steer clear of your costly mistakes. Don't miss out this opportunity to gain insightful wisdom that will secure your financial future. Join me, Angela Kabete, this coming Monday on Money and Business from 7:30 a.m. on Mizpah TV as we dive into the topic of financial pitfalls.
Oh yes, my name is Pastor Peter Iregi, and I'm here to invite all of you to this year's annual prophetic prayer congress that is taking place at Mizpah House of Prayer in Bahati, Nakuru, from the 2nd of December to the 8th. And we are looking forward to have all of you in gracing this wonderful gathering of believers. And this is an interdenominational meeting, and it is free and open to all. Welcome.
Mizpah TV, keeping the fire of the altar burning.
Welcome back, and thank you for all those who are watching us. I have seen a question from Rehab, and Rehab is asking whether an offense can cause trauma. I hope I have understood your question correctly. And I want to say, if you have offended someone, for example, if it's rape, incest, or insult, or harassing children, and they are spending out in the cold, or when they see you, they scatter. Those are, definitely offenses, and they are very, very traumatic. Anything that is an offense, it means it's an infringement of human rights, an infringement of child rights, and therefore it can be traumatic. It can be a cause of trauma. So I had promised I was going to add you some more causes as we come to an end. And another cause is loss of a loved one. Death can be very traumatic. And I want to say that mostly when death occurs, a lot of us ignore children. But I have seen this one changing. But children, when they lose someone close to them, a parent, a mother, a father, a brother, or a sister, this can be very, very, very traumatic. I always say when I'm speaking to people that personally I've been a victim of that. I lost my father when I was very young, and I was not made to understand what was happening around me. And I can tell you for free that this has affected my life, but being in the profession that I am, it has helped me to develop coping mechanisms by, number one, accepting that what happened is irreversible. So the other last one I'll give you, it's not there are so many, but I'll give you the last one, is medical trauma. When a child has undergone very serious sicknesses, very serious, maybe injuries or some medical procedures, a child can experience trauma because they may not understand what is happening. Even going through that physical pain can cause a lot of trauma to the child. And with that, allow me to read some Bible verses. I'm going to read Matthew 11:28 up to 30. It says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." One more, and the last one, Isaiah 61 verse 1. It says, "The Spirit of the sovereign Lord is on me, because the Lord has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim freedom for the captives, and release darkness for the prisoners." So it doesn't matter what your situation is, even if you experienced trauma as a child, there is healing, there is rest in our Lord Jesus Christ. God bless you, and until next time, keep communicating with us through our social media outlets. You can WhatsApp us through the number on the screen. You can write an SMS and ask a question. Also follow us on YouTube and Facebook, and you can share, comment, and ask any question, and in our next episode I'll be able to address that. Thank you, and make sure you go to church. And I want to remind you that here at Mizpah, from the 2nd of December to the 8th of December, we have a mega congress. I will be attending. Do not miss out. God bless you.
Praise the Lord. Well, Minister Bahati here, and I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you for our annual prophetic prayer congress, which will be happening at Mizpah House of Prayer, Nakuru, Bahati, under our Father, Apostle Dr. Jesse Karanja and Reverend Dr. Margaret Karanja. This is a meeting that has been designed to totally change your life. And I believe that when you come, there's a place that God has for you. We have so many testimonies as an evidence that God really works in this meeting. It will be happening from the 2nd of December to the 8th of December. Of course, God has prepared so many ministers to come and minister unto us. So I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everybody, including my fans from social media, from Busia, Kitale, Bungoma, Eldoret, and even Nakuru and Naivasha, Nairobi, Mombasa. Everybody, make a point and make your way at Mizpah House of Prayer, Nakuru, from the 2nd of December to the 8th of December. May the Lord bless you, and may the Lord make His face shine upon you as you prepare to come. In Jesus' name.
Enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. Psalm 100 verse 4. Sunday is a great day to give thanks and praises to our God. That is why Mizpah House of Prayer invites you for a Sunday worship service every Sunday from 9 a.m. A time of worship, prayer, and the prophetic word. Come for hope, fellowship, spiritual growth, and encouragement. We would love to have you. Join us in person or catch us live on Mizpah TV and our social media platform. Tukutane Church.